Most people who start Airbnb Arbitrage make the same mistake. Not because they're not smart or not motivated, because nobody told them what they were walking into. My name is Kevin Leong. I've been doing this for 3 years and I built a portfolio of 186 units across multiple states. And looking back, there are things I wish I had known. Some of these, I wish I knew on day one. Others, I only figured out once I was running a lot of units. Either way, they would save me a lot of time, money, and headaches. These are 10 things I wish I knew before I started. Whether you're thinking about getting into this or you're already in it and things are not clicking the way you expected, these lessons are going to help. Let's get into it. Number 1, this is a hospitality business. The model is simple. You sign a lease, list the property, and make money on the difference between what you charge to guests and what you pay in rent. But what most people do not realize is that this is not 100% passive. This is hospitality, and the sooner you accept that, the better off you'll be. Think about what a regular landlord does. They sign a lease, they collect rent on the first of the month. As long as nothing breaks, they don't know how to think much about it. No turnovers every few days, no reviews, no guest messaging at 11 p.m. asking how to get inside the building. They just collect rent. We are not doing that. We're cleaning units multiple times a week. We are managing check-ins and check-outs. We are answering questions in real time and solving problems the moment they come up. Because every guest needs to walk away with a 5-star experience. That part is not optional. Think of it like a hotel but in a regular home. A hotel does not hand you a key and disappear. They make sure your room is clean, your check-in is smooth, and if something goes wrong, they fix it fast. That is a standard that we hold ourselves to. The software handles a lot of it. Automated messages, cleaning reminders, dynamic pricing, all running in the background. But there's still a layer technology cannot replace. It comes down to how fast you solve a problem and how you make people feel. Here's what that looks like. Say a guest shows up and there's an issue with the keys or check-in. You call them right away and give them the fastest solution you can so they get inside. If they checked in late or they had trouble sleeping that night, you give them a free late checkout. If something went wrong during their stay, you can send them food or a gift card to a restaurant nearby. Those little things almost cost you nothing, but they turn a guest who's about to leave a bad review into a guest who feels well taken care of. That is hospitality. That's what separates the operators who win from the ones who wonder why they are not making money. Your reviews drive your ranking. Your ranking drives your visibility. Your visibility drives your bookings. Everything runs through guest satisfaction. And that ties directly into the next one, which surprises almost everyone. Number 2, and this one surprises a lot of people. You do not need to be in a vacation market. When I tell people I started in Milwaukee, the first thing they say is, what's even in Milwaukee? And that is exactly the point. There's a misconception that Airbnb Arbitrage only works near a beach, a downtown tourist strip, or a city that everyone already knows. That is not true. Every city makes money. You just have to know how to find the right one. When I was searching for my first market, one of the first things I looked at was whether the city had a major sports team. That sounds simple, but it tells you something important. If a city has a major professional sports team, there is enough infrastructure and enough travel demand. And that stadium is not just for games. It pulls in big events and conventions all year round, and those people need somewhere to stay. Milwaukee has a professional sports team in basketball and baseball. That was enough for me to know it was worth researching further. From there you go deeper. You look at what else drives people to the city. It could be corporate travelers, a major hospital, a university, or annual events. Not every reason people travel looks like tourism. You need enough of them to keep your units booked. Then you look at the actual numbers. What are the top properties in the market earning, and what does rent cost? For me, the rule is simple. The revenue should be about double what I would pay in rent. That tells me there are enough margins to be made. You also look at where those units are, because not every neighborhood performs the same. The best properties cluster in certain neighborhoods, and that is where you want to be. Milwaukee is not somewhere people think of as a vacation destination, but the data told me it worked. And because most operators were chasing obvious markets, there was less competition and better margins. Once you find the right market, there is one thing you need to handle before you sign anything, and most people skip it. Number 3 has burned a lot of operators, and it is completely avoidable. Get everything in writing. This applies on both sides of the business, with the landlord and with the guest. On the landlord side, you need a signed lease addendum or language written directly into the lease that explicitly states that the landlord is aware of and allows you to run a corporate housing business on the property. They know you are listing on booking platforms and running short-term and mid-term stays. Both parties sign it, and that's the only agreement that holds up. Here's why it matters, and this is from my own experience. In 3 years and 186 units, I have never been kicked out of a building, and the reason is simple. I always get the addendum signed. I had one situation where I got into a building, working with a project manager there, and about 2 months later, a completely new management company took over. They had a new front office and they did not want corporate housing in the building, but I had my agreement signed so they could not force me out. I stayed the full term and left when the lease ended. Buildings get sold, landlords retire, and management companies change all the time. If a new owner comes in and you have nothing in writing, they can remove you immediately because you have no ground to stand on. I've seen it happen to operators who only had a verbal agreement. They were gone overnight once there's a management change. The paperwork is what protects you. On the guest side, you want a rental agreement sent automatically at the time of the booking through the software. It covers the house rules, check-in and check-out times, and the basic terms of the stay. Guests sign before they arrive, which sets the expectations up front and filters out people who are never going to be a good fit. If someone refuses to sign a simple rental agreement, that tells you everything you need to know. Cancel the reservation and move on. The guest you want will not have a problem with it. Document everything on both sides every single time. Once you have everything in writing, number 4 is about how you set up the unit. Most people get this wrong, and it shows up directly in the reviews and the revenue. Number 4 is about the setup, and this one is more important than most people think. Before you furnish a single unit, figure out who you are actually designing for, not what you like, what your target guest wants. The trick is put yourself in their shoes. If you were flying in for work and staying a few weeks, what would you want? Fast Wi-Fi, a comfortable bed, and a nice desk. Everything stocked and ready so you don't have to think about it. Every property attracts a different type of traveler, so design for that traveler. If your area gets a lot of business travelers, build it for them. If it gets families, build it for them. The mistake operators make is designing for themselves. They pick a color scheme they love, furniture they think that looks cool, a style that is really their taste. And here's the problem. What you like is not always what most people like. A bold or unusual design can actually scare people off and cost you bookings. You're not decorating your own home. You are designing for your target guest, not yourself. On the furnishing side, spend your money where it matters. The bed and the couch are the 2 most important pieces in any unit, because that's where the guests spend most of their time. Spend a little more there and get something comfortable that lasts. Nobody notices a fancier cup or fork. And do not go too cheap, because cheap actually costs you more. Cheap stuff breaks faster, so you are buying it twice. Cheap furniture is uncomfortable, it wears out, and it shows up in your reviews. You do not need the most expensive things, but you need sturdy things that will last over time. Spend smart, not cheap. Now that the unit is set up correctly, what happens next is everything. The first 30 days after you go live. Number 5, how you launch your listing sets a trajectory for everything that follows. The first 30 days are not just your introduction to the platform. They're when Airbnb is deciding whether to push your listing or bury it. How you perform in that window shapes your ranking, your reviews, and your booking momentum going forward. And you have already spent money to get here. First month's rent, security deposit, furniture, setup. That money is gone before your first guest ever checks in. So you launch wrong. You're not starting from zero. You're starting in a hole. Here's how I launched to win that window. For the first week or so, I priced a little bit below the market on purpose. The goal is to pull in fast bookings and fast reviews and make those early guests happy. Usually within a week, sometimes less, you build enough momentum that you could raise your price back up to normal market rate. Now you have got reviews, now you got bookings, and the algorithm sees you as a listing worth showing. Those early reviews also build trust, and trust is what lets you charge more later. Bad photos, a generic listing description, and pricing too high or too low will slow you down. Get all 3 wrong, and you're grinding uphill from day 1. The first reviews your listing gets carry a lot of weight. Those early negative reviews are hard to recover from, and they hurt your ranking. Everything has to be ready before you go live. Photos done right, pricing set strategically, the unit fully stocked and operational. Get the launch right, and the next 30 days build momentum. Get it wrong, and spend the next 60 days trying to dig out. Once the listing is live and running, there is one hire that decides whether your operation runs smoothly or falls apart. Number 6, your cleaning team. Most operators do not think about this hire until something goes wrong. Your cleaner is your boots on the ground. They are at the property multiple times a week, sometimes more depending on the turnover volume. They see everything. The condition of the unit, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be restocked, what it gets damaged. If you have a good cleaner communicating with you, you always know what is going on at your property, even when you're not there. When it works, it is a two-way street. You set the standards, they execute, they report back, and together, you keep the property in good shape. That shows up directly in your reviews. A clean property usually gets 5 stars, and those early 5-star reviews are what keep pushing you up on the rankings in front of more guests. When it does not work, everything goes the other direction. A cleaner who does a bad job on a turnover will show up in your reviews fast. Nobody wants to stay in a dirty property, and one bad review about cleanliness snowballs quickly. Before anyone starts working with you, they need to know your standards up front, what you expect, what a proper clean looks like, and what happens if that is not met. That part is just accountability. But it goes past accountability. Build a real relationship with your cleaners and treat them well, because they are the core of your operation. For me, it means treating them with respect, communicating well, and taking care of them. Small bonuses on holidays and birthdays. If I need extra work done, I pay them for it, and they're happy to do it, as long as it is fair on both sides and everyone is clear on the roles from the start. It works. When you have got that, you're not constantly checking in or putting out fires. You can trust them with the property and it stays in good shape all year. With your operations running smoothly, the next question is how you actually know whether your business is working or quietly bleeding money. Number 7, track your numbers. If you do not treat this like a real business, it will not perform like one. Track your numbers is how you know what's actually going on inside your operation at any given time. The biggest reason to track is simple. When something goes wrong, you need to know exactly what to fix. If you're not tracking anything, you are guessing, and you might waste time fixing something that was never the problem. Start with the basics. Money in, money out. What each unit makes, your expenses, your profit, and how often you are booked. And this is something I run into with a big portfolio. Overall, the business is making money. But when I look unit by unit, there are sometimes a couple that are quietly underperforming, even in the same building, even in the same exact floor plan as the units that are doing great. Usually it's something specific. Maybe the reviews are lower. Maybe there are always maintenance issues, or maybe it's just always noisy near there. Once I figure out what the issue is, I decide if it's worth keeping. If the unit is underperforming against the rest of the building, I will not renew it. Why keep a unit that doesn't make enough money? Even with 20 or 30 units in the building, a few will underperform over time. The only reason why I catch it is because I track everything. I also keep an eye out on average review score for each property. Your reviews are a performance number, not just feedback. It might feel like a lot when you're just starting, but build the systems early, document it, and eventually your team runs it for you. The goal is to always know what is working, what is not, and what needs attention. Knowing your numbers is one thing. The next lesson is why trying to do everything yourself will cap your growth. No business is built on one person. At some point, handling everything yourself stops being hustle and starts being a ceiling. One person cannot handle 50 or 100 units worth of guest messages, operations, and back-end work without things breaking. The question is not whether to delegate, it is when and what to hand off first. For me, with an apartment-based portfolio, the first real hire came around the 15 to 20 unit mark. That is about where it made sense to buy back my time. And the first thing to do is to hand off guest communication. Someone to handle check-in, check-out, questions, and reservations. That one hire frees up hours every week. From there, you build out slowly based on what is eating your time. Back-end admin tasks like creating listings and connecting your software. If cold calling and chasing deals takes up your day, hire a cold caller so someone else is generating the leads while you close them. The whole idea is that you, the owner, focus on the high leverage work that moves the business forward, not the busy work. Give everyone clear roles, daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly tasks, no guessing. When you hire A players. An A player doesn't work without you watching over them. They're driven, motivated, and gets things done. One bad hire can ruin the whole team. That bad energy spreads. They show up late, they cut corners, they complain, and your A players feel it. Now they're covering for someone who is not pulling their weight, and they start wondering why that person is even on the team. Do not hold on. Hire slow, fire fast. Give someone 4 to 6 weeks. If the red flags show up early, that is your answer. The goal is a business that runs without you. When the right people are in the right roles, your output is no longer limited to what one person can do in a day. It multiplies. With the right team in place, there is a relationship that most operators underestimate from the very beginning. Number 9, your landlord relationships. Most operators treat their landlord just like a transaction. Sign a lease, pay the rent, only call when something breaks. Do the opposite. Build a real relationship. Check in and let them know how things are going. But some landlords want to be hands off and just trust you to run it. That is fine. You do not need to bother them constantly. But there's a big difference between being low maintenance and being invisible. Get on their good side and stay there. I'll tell you what this turned into for me. When I was expanding and leasing a lot of units, the people in the market knew me, and they knew that I was professional and easy to work with, so they started coming to me. The same ownership groups and management companies will offer me 10, 20, sometimes more units across their other buildings, and did not have to do any outreach at all. They reached out to me. I was the only operator they allowed in the building because they only wanted to work with me. None of that came from cold outreach. I came from doing good business and staying connected. And I keep it that way with the small things. When I visit, I stop by the leasing office and bring them some gifts, like $25 gift cards or a box of donuts. It's not much, but it shows that I appreciate them. You take care of them, they take care of you. One strong landlord relationship can open up their entire portfolio, their network, and their referrals. So do not just show up when you need something. Build a relationship and let it do the work for you. And that brings us to the last one. Number 10 is the one thing that protects everything you have built: platform diversification. For the first 2 years, I was on Airbnb only. Most operators start that way. Airbnb is the biggest platform. It drives the most traffic and is where you learn the business. But depending on it completely is a real risk that most people do not think about until it's too late. Airbnb changes its policy all the time, and if your account ever gets suspended or banned and you're 100% on that one platform, your business stops making money that day. I've known plenty of operators this has happened to. They got shut down for weeks. All their reservations canceled and they were scrambling. They had to rebuild every listing from scratch. A brand new listing with an empty calendar only books at low prices, so even when bookings come back, they're barely worth anything. They lost all their current bookings, all their future bookings, and a ton of money. The fix is simple, and there's no excuse not to do it. List on all major platforms: Booking.com, VRBO, Expedia, and others. A property management software syncs everything automatically, so managing multiple platforms is not complicated. You set it up once and it runs. And diversifying does not just protect you, it actually grows your revenue. Different platforms bring different travelers. Booking.com pulls in to more international guests. Some platforms book at higher rates than Airbnb. More platforms mean more eyes on your listing and more chances to get booked, especially in the slow months. For me now, Airbnb is around 60% of my bookings, and the other platforms make up the other 40. The long game is to build your own guest list and push toward direct bookings, your own brand, your own platform, lower fees for everyone. That's how you take back control completely. Your business should never depend on one platform. And there you have it, the 10 things I wish I knew before starting Airbnb Arbitrage. This is not a 100% passive business, especially when you're first getting started. But once you learn the operations and build the right systems, it can run with very little day-to-day involvement from you. The people who struggle are the ones who expect results without putting in the work to learn first. If you're willing to put in the time up front, the business works. If this video helped, hit subscribe and drop a comment which one of these 10 surprised you the most. Follow me on Instagram at KevinLeon_BNB. Thanks for watching.